California driver's licenses or ID cards will no longer be accepted to fly come the year 2020. A new federal mandate requires a new real ID at airports and military bases.
A lot of these folks are just learning about the real ID. It's an optional identification card, but if you travel a lot in the United States, you likely will want to get one because come October 2020, driver's licenses will not be accepted at airports. It's either got to be your passport or your real ID card.
If you live in Kansas, you may soon need to get a new driver's license. Today, the state unveiled that new design. But the updated look is not for style. It's to comply with new federal rules.
The look of your Pennsylvania driver's license and the way you go about getting one are about to change. It's all in the name of security.
The New Hampshire DMV is issuing real IDs.
Real IDs. The Real ID law was passed back in 2005 on recommendation of the 9/11 Commission, ostensibly to make it harder for terrorists to get state driver's licenses. But it's taken a decade for the Department of Homeland Security to finally get around to enforcement. Now, residents in some states may no longer be able to use their driver's licenses or State Motor Vehicle Commission IDs to get into federal facilities or even to board domestic flights.
Real ID law was passed by Congress after the September 11th attacks. It requires all states to meet tougher identification standards for use at airport checkpoints.
Your current California driver's license or ID card soon won't be accepted by TSA agents. That's due to the Federal Real ID Act of 2005, passed in response to the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
After October 1st of 2020, they will need either a Real ID license or a passport to board domestic airplanes.
The federal government is requiring states to comply with certain requirements in order to board a domestic flight, enter certain federal facilities, and military bases.
That means a DMV visit will be required. Customers will have to pay a renewal fee and get the new federally compliant Real ID before October 2020.
The Division of Motor Vehicles began signing people up for Real IDs today, but they're urging people to wait until their current license expires before they sign up.
Everybody's license that they have now is good until October 1st, 2020.
The Department of Homeland Security says the license you were issued at the licensing center is not a real ID. In states that have them, a gold star indicates it's a real ID, and those that aren't in compliance clearly say so. It's the result of 12 years of Homeland Security pushing states to a common standard for processing applications to tighten up preventing those with nefarious intent from getting a legitimate ID.
More than 10 years after Congress enacted the law creating minimum security standards for types of identification to be used at federal facilities, including airport security.
The one thing is you can't renew online. This does have to be done in person. It's part of the requirements set forth in the Real ID Act.
Currently, state law allows someone's photo and social security number to be deleted from the DMV system. That will not be allowed for those opting in to the Real ID program.
Among other things, the law requires motor vehicle agencies to run facial recognition software. Compliance with the law would mean that your personal information, like social security numbers and copies of birth certificates, would be available to other motor vehicle agencies and thus thousands of their employees across the country. But some privacy advocates say Real ID is really just an end-around attempt by the federal government to create a national ID card.
All states issue uniform cards and back-end databases which share information about drivers and ID holders nationally. The Department of Homeland Security is trying to drive compliance by threatening to withhold acceptance of licenses from non-compliant states at TSA when people go to travel. So that's a national ID that's being pushed by the federal government on the state.
In addition to the potential privacy vulnerabilities, the law, in 10 years of non-enforcement, has already cost a lot of money, says Decatur Institute's Jim Harper.
Congress has spent almost $500 billion over the last 10 years on various identification and biometric programs. That is money spent to track all of us. Now, some of them may have some security benefits, but on the whole, tracking law-abiding American citizens fail to cost benefit analysis. That is, it spends more money than it delivers security or other benefits.
Unless New Jersey changes course, you could ultimately be forced to share a lot more of your personal information if you want to fly or even visit your congressman's office, all in the name of national security.